guys, this is Coach T, the Polepreneur, and I am reporting live from my Dallas, Texas studio location. And today I want to cover with you what is the difference between a 1099 or independent contractor and an employee or W-2. So the difference is the way that you're controlled and how much freedom you have. The difference is also taxes and wages, okay, or how you earn your income. This is why it's important, and I want you, if you're looking at this and you're a pole instructor and you teach for somebody else's brand, but you happen to follow my page, thank you so much. And maybe you don't necessarily want to go out and start your own business. If you're a 1099, I want to tell you something, you already started your business, okay? So I just want you to know this, and I want you to understand why. There are so many misconceptions regarding 1099s and W-2s. This is particularly important for our industry because in this industry, the go-to or the ordinary hire are independent contractors, 1099s. Why? Because it's a lot cheaper on a business to hire a 1099 than it is a W-2. When you have an employee, there's a lot more liability. There's a lot more tax that you have to pay. There's a lot more taking care of that individual that you have to do versus a 1099. But a 1099 is supposed to come as the true professional and really be able to give more to your business up front without you having to do a lot of developmental work. Okay, so what do I mean by that? A 1099 is essentially their own business. You, yourself, your living vessel, your head to your toes, you are your own business. You are responsible for your training. You're responsible for your tools. You're responsible for your branding. You're responsible for your output. You're responsible for negotiating your pay. You are responsible for that. You're responsible for going to get your own work. Think of a 1099 independent contractor as a plumber, as a chef that you hired to come cook at an event, as a barber, as a hairstylist. 1099s are exactly as the word says, independent. Independent. You have things you bring to the table, licenses, your own professional liability insurance. You are responsible for that. A W-2 is saying, I don't have it all, but I'm willing to be trained. I'm willing to be directed, and I'm willing to do what you tell me to do. That's what a W-2 employee is. This is what I mean. I'm gonna give you some real life examples in a minute, but what I mean by this is a W-2 employee says, I will trade some of my freedoms so that you'll take care of me, so that you will make sure I'm trained efficiently, so that you will make sure that I have all the tools that I need, so that you'll promote me, so that you'll tell me exactly what I need to do, when I need to do it, where I need to do it, and how I need to do it. That's a W-2 employee. The difference, as you can see, is the thought process, the responsibility, and who that lies on, as well as the control. So for example, if I hired a plumber to come into my studio and to fix a leak or to fix a toilet, and they expected me to give them their tools, no, right? They would come with their own tools. If they expected me to teach them how to fix the toilet, no, right? It's not gonna happen. Why? Because they're independent. And that's the difference. So here's the deal when it comes to independent contracting in the pole studio realm. And I want y'all to hear me, and I want you to hear me very closely, because the IRS has a checklist, and I'm gonna put that link in my description. But the IRS has a checklist to test you as a business owner to see, do you really have independent contractors? Are you saying they're independent contractors and they're really employees, and you're just trying to get away with employment tax? You're just trying to get away from lowering your labor budget. They're gonna ask you that. And I'm gonna tell you this, in my experience, they're a little biased as far as like your local workforce commission, because they want to collect on those taxes. So if you're going to hire independent contractors, you better believe that you're hands off. If you're not hands off, you can get yourself into trouble and have to pay back taxes for every single person that you had in your facility that you claimed were 1099s or independent contractors and you really treated them as an employee. For example, if you tell your people when to work, and if you tell them that if you don't come in and work at this time, that you have to find a substitute. If you tell them that you are not allowed to come in here without a uniform, if you tell them that you must teach this particular class exactly as it's ordered, you can't play this particular music, you can't use these particular tools. If you say, I have a mandatory meeting and you must be there or you're going to be written up. If you say you are not allowed to work for another studio, if you say you must meet these sales quotas, you are treading, if not already, completely in the boat of actually having an employee. If you were saying those things or doing those things or enforcing those rules on a 1099. So let me get this clear though. So an IRS checklist is how much it's weighted towards the ticks against you. So while you might have one of them, like, oh, okay, for the sake of the clientele, if you agree to work this schedule and you agree to take these classes on these days and service the clients on these days and you can't make it, you have to find a replacement. If I told you that your replacement had to be within this company and you couldn't hire your own replacement, which were people that you actually had up underneath of you that you trained how to teach pole, then that would be a problem. That would be a W-2. That's how the IRS would look at it. They would look at you as you hiring a W-2. Let me make that a little bit more clear. If I had a pole instructor that I said was an independent contractor and her name was Carolyn, shout out to all the Carolyn. If I said, Carolyn, all right, let's work a deal. I want to bring you on. I want you to teach pole classes in here. Let's agree every Wednesday you'll be teaching from 6 to 9. I'm looking for some beginner classes. Got a lot of beginners that come in on Wednesdays, 6 to 9. Give me your, class write-ups. Give me how much you want to charge them. Give me your class description, all that. I'm still in good territory with that, okay? All right, good. I got all your graphics. I got the names of your classes. I got all that. All right, good. So let's sign our 1099 agreement. We're good. Let me get a copy of your insurance. Let me get a copy of your business documents, your formation documents, whether that's an LLC or, whatever that might be. Let me get a copy of all that. Let me keep that on file. I'm still in good territory with Carolyn. But say, it's the holiday week. Carolyn's like, listen, I'm going to cancel classes. I don't want to do them. And I'm like, oh no, well, you can't cancel classes. You're going to have to find a replacement. That's a little teeter-totter now. I'm kind of tipping over my toe into the employee realm. And if she says, okay, that's fine, I'll find a replacement. I have a girl that I work with. Her name is Trish. She can come teach my classes. She knows how to teach. And if I say, no, I don't know Trish. Trish can't come in here and teach. It has to be somebody that I have already on the team. That is a violation. You cannot do that because as an independent contractor, I have the right to replace myself with somebody else, and I have a right to pick the substitute for myself. And if I am coming in and being told that I'm not allowed to pick Trish, that becomes a problem because now there's too much control on you as the studio owner towards me. So a lot of it, like you could see, it's a lot of freedom. I can go on and on about independent contractors and W-2. So this is going to be a part 1 video. I'm going to break this up in multiple parts, but this is going to be a part 1 video. So this is just a quick overview, okay? So the purpose of this video, in summary, was to point out to you that the classification between an independent contractor and an employee working at a studio depends on the control that a studio has or that establishment has. How much control that they enforce, who is really at the realization of a profit and loss. If you're an independent contractor and you don't run the risk of loss, if you don't really play in the profit and loss world, meaning like you wouldn't even realize loss because everything is provided for you. You don't dish out nothing. You don't pay for anything. You don't pay for your clothes. You don't pay for your training. You don't pay for your equipment. You don't pay for your advertisement. You don't pay for anything. You're not an independent contractor. You're not, because you don't realize profit and loss. If you're a W-2 and you want to come in and you want to go work for other studios and you want to self-promote or you want to promote promote your own brand, you can't do that as a W-2 because you've signed a contract and those contracts have non-competes in them. You can't go work for the competitor. You can't do things like that. And you have to abide by stricter rules and covenants because the business is responsible for making sure that you have the training that you need to fulfill the job that they hired you for, that you get the clients, that they give you the work. So they should be feeding you with clients, okay? That they help promote what you're teaching, that they give you all of the equipment so that you're not putting out anything. Like if you're not having to pay for a uniform, if you're not having to pay for advertisement, if you're not having to pay for graphics to be made, if you're not having to pay to acquire a client, you're a W-2 because the business is taking care of you. So that's really what that is. Again, like I said, this is a lengthy discussion when it comes to 1099s and W-2s, when it comes to independent contractors and employees. But hopefully I've brought some light to a few things for you, no matter which side of the fence you play on. And trust me, this conversation is so important. It's important for studio owners, it's important for pole instructors, and it's important for people going into the pole instructor realm. It is very important to have this discussion so that you understand where you are when it comes to working in the field of the pole industry. So be sure that you are following my page, that you click the like, you click the subscribe, and you make sure that you follow me for part 2. Thank you guys.